I'd like to introduce you today to a patient who had an Achilles tendon lengthening procedure a couple of years ago, and this changed how she's walking just enough that it created some friction on the bottom of her foot in a place that she normally doesn't have any. And in turn, this friction caused thickening of the outer layer of skin called the stratum corneum, which caused these little teeny calluses that feel to her like she's walking with a piece of gravel or a pebble embedded in the outer layers of skin, and they can be very painful. Space heater here. Okay, so these you said you got about 6 or 7 years ago when you had an Achilles tendon lengthening on this foot. And so you're thinking you felt like something when they did that tendon released up to here?
Right.
Okay. How did the surgery go for you?
The surgery went great.
Okay. And did it fix the problem?
It seemed to, yes.
Okay, but it caused this one.
Right.
Okay. So just so that we can change the picture in your mind a little bit, when they released the tendon, no fibers in here went boing up to here.
Mm-hmm.
I know that that's kind of what it feels like happened, but really what it did was it just altered how you walk. And so that this spot on your foot now is getting a lot of friction. And that's what makes these little plugs of thick skin here. So we can get some non-friction pads that you can put in your shoe right under here so that you don't have to put anything on your foot, which is generally more comfortable, and I'll give you those links when you leave. We don't have them here, but I can tell you where to get them. And then we'll put a little acid patch on these. Did the other podiatrist do the acid too for you?
No.
Okay.
He said nothing else could be done other than he shaved them down very roughly and said, here's a clinic that treats diabetic feet if you want to go there, but I'll tell you insurance isn't going to cover it.
What?
Yeah. Unless you're diabetic, insurance isn't going to cover it.
Oh, okay. Well, that's coming in for regular routine trimming, that's true, but
This isn't regular routine trimming.
I wouldn't consider this regular now.
And the only other thing you can do is pumice and lotion.
Yeah, the pumice, okay, so let's talk about that for a second. So definitely yes on the pumice, or if you even wanted to get something a little bit more coarse, like you've seen those ped egg things. I've never had anybody go too deep with those. And that, I think a pumice might be too fine for these.
Okay.
But that will just get off the surface stuff. It's not going to get anything deep in here. That you kind of need me, yeah. But there are some creams, like there's a urea cream that we sell here, that you can put on there that will also help break down some of the thick skin. And our goal would be to make it so that you only need to come in a couple times a year to have this done.
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, and otherwise you can manage them at home. That would be the goal. We're never going to be able to make them completely go away. Like I said, these are kind of like the bane of the profession, because they are painful. It's like walking with a little piece of gravel in your skin.
That's exactly how it is. I've got 4 or 5 pebbles there, and the more my feet swell as I'm on my feet 12 hours a day, the worse it gets.
Right. Yeah, and there's only so deep I can go with this blade before I make you bleed. And so if we use the acid, then that can go a little bit deeper than I can go with this. So, all right.
On those bottom ones, it feels like you're...
Which ones? Over here?
No, the ones that you did first.
Uh-huh.
Like you've got a lot more room to go down.
Okay. Well, let me look and see.
As compared to the tap did.
Okay.
And I'm taking that as from discomfort pressure feeling.
Okay. All right. I can probably take a little more with the blade, sure.
Never fails.
Mm-hmm. Do you need to grab it?
I'm thinking that might be my, I've got no idea who that is.
Yeah, did you?
You want to hand her the
Yeah.
purse?
Yeah.
Now it stops, of course.
Probably robocall.
Unknown missed call. I'll have to wait. Unknown missed call is not important to me unless I've,
Okay, so these down here, you want me to go a little deeper?
if you can.
And this is definitely a place that would be really hard for you to get to on your own. This is like the hardest place in the foot to get to. And every now and then, when we use the little acid patch like we would do for a wart, it can get these to go away.
We'll pray.
Yeah, I'm not that hopeful in this case, but I think it's definitely worth a try. And you're my last patient before lunch, so I'll just take some time and we'll get each one of these a little patch.
Thank you.
Yeah, and just see if we can get you wanting to take on those more hours over the holidays at work. Okay, does that feel a little better?
That feels great.
Okay, let's go the other foot. This would have to hurt, this one. Now, on the one on the other side of this foot, you said you stepped on some
I
glass.
stepped on a piece of glass.
Did you go for medical treatment or an x-ray
No.
or anything? Okay. So it feels different from all the rest of them. So let me see what I can find, and then what we may do is take an x-ray and see if we can
I'm
see.
sure there's not anything stolen there.
Yeah, I mean, if it's leaded glass, we'll see it. If it's not leaded, we're still not gonna see it, but we'll see. Okay. So that's about as deep as I dare go on this one. She says as she goes deeper and deeper. Am I hurting you at all with
No,
this?
I'm not,
Okay.
not feeling it. Other than just, minimal pressure of you scraping. Not bad, I'm feeling a little bit.
Yeah, so I said this one's different from all the rest. I'm wondering. Alright, well, I'm not feeling any glass at the base of this one, but it still has a different consistency than the other ones. So we'll still put the acid patch on it, but I think we'll hold off on the x-rays till I see you back next time.
Okay.
Because it feels pretty flat now. Does that feel like there's something in there when I push? Okay. All right, so let's just get all these little acid patches on, and this will all go in fast motions. Okay, this is just cold spray.
Cold.
Yeah, it's an adhesive. It'll help the patches stay on better. And this is where podiatry gets a little artsy craftsy. So what I'm doing here is I'm just making pads with little teeny holes in them so that the acid stays right where I put it and doesn't hit the good skin around it.
Okay. So a little moleskin.
Yep, exactly. And then the acid goes inside the little hole, and then we'll cover it up.
So the first one was that the acid, and this is a.
These are both acid. One is a liquid, one's a paste, yeah. Now this one right here, maybe take this one off tomorrow and not 2 days.
The first.
The big toe.
The big toe.
That one. The skin's a little bit thinner there.
So Thursday for the big toe, right foot, Friday for everyone else.
Yeah.
Can that be done in the morning or preferably?
Doesn't matter. So try and keep it on for the full 48 if you can.
Okay.
If it starts to hurt too much, you can take it off, wash it with soap and water. We don't want to leave it on longer than the 48 hours because this stuff can burn a hole in the skin that will go too deep.
So I work on Friday.
So take it all off before you go to
Before I
work.
go to work. Okay. Because that'll be short of 48 hours, but that's not by much.
Yeah, that's okay. Rather have you take it off a little bit too early than leave it on a little bit too long.
Okay.
Again, it shouldn't hurt, but if it does and you just can't stand it, then take it off and wash it.
Right.
And then what I'd like to do is see you back in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
2-3 weeks, and we can redo it if it worked but it didn't last. We can redo it again to get you through your holiday retail season. Yeah, and we'll see what worked, what didn't, and then I think at that appointment we'll also talk about whether we want to do something with orthotics, so that you're not
Redoing them.
putting friction on these spots.
Sounds fine to me.
Okay, well, thank you for letting us video.
Oh, you're very welcome.
The callus on this foot under the big toe joint is a place that often bears quite a bit of weight and gets the pressure, And this is an example of a hammer toe that rubs up against the top of the shoe, again, giving it pressure and causing the corn on the top. So this is a diagram that shows healthy skin with the upper layer of keratin that is a normal thickness, while where you have the callus, the upper layer, which is all the keratin cells, is much, much thicker. And again, that can happen from the friction or it can happen from the pressure. Both cause the thickening.